And we're back with another episode of Batman the Caped Crusader. This one titled "And Be a Villain." ... And be a villain. So, first things first, they introduced new characters in this episode. A couple of them just one-liners, but the main character of this episode was a character that I first found out about in the original Batman the Animated Series back in the 1990s. Her name was Renee Montoya. This is what she looks like. Over here was like the original, and then when they rebranded the show, like mid-1990s, this is the redesign. And she's the main character of this episode. And she looks a little different. I'll show you. If my computer wants to work. She went on that steady diet of donuts that cops like to go on sometimes. So, just one more time. 1990s. 2024. So this is what she looks like in this episode. And they do all the things you would expect them to do. Girl boss, girl power, whatever. And all the men are, of course, incompetent unless it's Batman. So I'm going to start out with my favorite part about the episode, though. My favorite part of the episode, though, was the villain they introduced. The villain they introduced is one of my favorites from the comics, the old animated show, video games, you name it. The villain is a villain called Clayface. And this is what he looks like in the episode, at least. I know him looking a little bit different from the animated show in the 90s, but this is him, very V for Vendetta style. He's called Clayface because, well, I'll just go through the origin. He is starting to change his looks because under studio pressure. This is the original comic book. Under studio pressure, they want him to change his looks. He always gets typecast as villains because of how he looks, and he wants to change it. He gets this experimental face cream that can move his face around, but of course it's temporary. And of course, because it's a monkey's paw sort of situation, it deteriorates literally, like it makes his face start to melt, and that's why he looks like Clayface. Let me see if I can find the page where, see, this is what I grew up with. The show. This is from the 1990s animated series. He's just like a big old monster. And he can form, let's just say he can form objects with his limbs. Like he likes to form hammers and maces and stuff like that. That's how he fights Batman. Really cool character. And I think the Cape Crusader show is trying to do the original, because this is the original Detectives comics. That's him. So it looks very similar. I found another picture earlier that makes him look very similar to what we saw in the show. Where is it? This looks like really creepy. And that's Clayface. So obviously there's going to be inevitable changes to this, and the biggest one was that, at least from my memory, in the comics, he just wanted, to change his face because of studio pressure. But of course, in the show, he wants to change his face because he's in love with the lead actress girl. So basically, the lead actress girl is always the damsel in distress. And Basil Karlo, that's his name, Clayface. Clayface is always the villain trying to kidnap her, until the hero rescues her. But he's in love with her. So they basically turned him into an incel, which is, very, very modern times. And Batman is only in 50% of this episode. I'm telling you, this is her episode. So they're really pushing this female forward narrative with body positivity. There is a cool fight though. The fight between Batman and Clayface is really cool. And it's a big murder mystery. Honestly, the thing that this show does best, when I like it the most, is when it does that pulp. That 1920s, 1930s, 1940s pulp, which Batman was inspired by stuff like The Shadow, The Phantom, Zorro, and the show can do it kind of well. And there's a rooftop chase scene, I think, between Clayface and Batman, and that's pretty cool. But of course, it all gets wrapped up in this modern day veneer where, girl boss. So Oh, and I'll spoil one thing. There's like this really excellent monologue, and whoever voiced Clayface, the voice actor, did an incredible job. And he's monologuing, typical villain monologue, and it's been done a million times. And they try to subvert your expectations by having the lead actress girl, the one he's in love with, like cut in and just basically stomp him down. Be like, no, you're an idiot, you're a loser, you're an incel, and it's just like, ugh, did you really have to go there? I get like the villain monologue in the third act is cliche, but isn't it now just a cliche to like call it out, to say it's stupid? That doesn't make the show better. It just makes it cringy. Oh, and also I had to write a side note. Montoya here, I think I've said it, she's a police officer. She calls for backup from two other police officers, and these are officers we've seen in comics time and time again, and other shows and movies. Harvey Bullock, Detective Bullock, and Flask. I don't remember Flask's name. And they're sitting in the car, and she calls for backup, and they ignore her, and they eat pickles. I'm not even kidding. They wrote that into a show. They are so trying to push the message of girl power, which, hey, you know what? I like this character from the 90s. I remember in the 90s, I wish they would have like developed her more because I thought she was cool. Like, look, she just looks like a beat cop, and over here she just looks like a detective. It's really cool. And here she's wearing like a Hillary Clinton pantsuit, and it's just annoying. But yeah, every male except for Batman and Alfred Pennyworth is incompetent. And one character they did introduce that they didn't introduce in the first episode is Lucius. Lucius Fox is apparently in this world Bruce Wayne's attorney. In the other comics that I've read, he's just like the COO or CEO of Wayne Enterprises. Bruce Wayne doesn't actually run his own company. His veneer of Bruce Wayne is too incompetent for that. So anyway, that's my thoughts on episode 2. I liked it a little less than episode 1, even though I liked the villain more, and I love the villain. Clayface is awesome. And yeah, I'll be back for episode 3 pretty soon. Thank you.